Welcome everyone to yet again another gathering under moon phase. Today we are connecting with the new moon in Gemini, which is happening in a few hours. It's going to happen at 4 a.m., about 4 a.m. Casablanca time, where I am at the moment, and 3 a.m. At Universal Time, GMT. Before I get into the moon, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll go into the reading of this moon. So most of you have received an invitation by email. I put together a system where you can sign up for to receive all the invitations for all the moon meditations, full moons and new moons, without having to watch my Instagram or whatever means that I had before. So hopefully that will help get the information to you. Whenever it's relevant and whenever the energies ask for it, I will be sending some preparatory work like I did for this time. Also, that will come into your mailbox. For those of you who have signed only for this alignment, you can see how it feels. And if you want to receive all of the invites, you can also sign up for that. You will receive an email shortly, maybe tomorrow or the day after, with the link to sign up for all of them. So you don't have to think about it again, for one. Number two, I'm also building a library with all the alignments. The alignments that we do here, they, of course, draw from the energies of the moment, but the alignments that I design, they are valid outside of time and space. And also the energy, you can tap into that at any moment that you need. So I'm building a library of all the alignments that I did. I think we're almost at 50 maybe, if not more, since I've started doing them. And so far I have put 3 in the library, which I felt were really themes that we want to go back to regularly. Little by little, I'll keep adding more and more alignments because I want you to be able to identify the theme and etc. So it requires a little bit of work on my side. So I will be doing that step by step. But in the meantime, you have 3 important ones that are there. So yeah, that's the update and the housekeeping from that. And yeah, I hope you find it useful, and I hope to see you, to see more of you here. Okay, now going to this moon. So this moon is happening, this new moon is happening at 6 degrees 03 of Gemini. So we are beginning a new moon cycle where the sun and the moon are together at that degree of Gemini. As you know by now, new moons are the perfect time to seed new intentions, to start new projects, to give impulse to change if that's something that you want to achieve. You can also check on your chart where 6 degrees of Gemini fall, as in which house. And that can inform you of which area of your life is more impacted. But as I've been saying for a while now, these moons are so powerful and the current energies are so fast moving, so powerful that it's very likely that a lot of our life is being affected. But nevertheless, you can always check, and for like more precise insight, you can check on your chart and see where that falls. Let's look at the archetype of Gemini to start with. Gemini is an air sign. It is the physical aspect of the trinity of air, of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The mantra of Gemini is I think, which starts to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about, or at least one of the big themes we're going to be talking about today. Its attributes are communication, ability to process information, learning, ideas, information, writing. The master of writing of the zodiac is Gemini. mental patterns, thoughts. In the day-to-day life, it's friends, siblings, relationships, exchange, short travel. All of these are energies or attributes of Gemini. It is connected to our respiratory system, which means the life force, the basic prana that nourishes our body and our being, in fact. It's connected to the emotional well-being, our ability to live freely. Air is free, right? If you think of air, it's freedom. It's the ability to go anywhere and everywhere. It can also speak, Gemini can also speak about, in contrast of the freedom that it suggests, it can speak of territorial conflict, my space versus the others people's space. What else? The constellation that form Gemini is made of two constellations of Castor and Pollux. These are the twins, sons of Zeus, one of them human, that's Castor, mortal. The other one, Pollux, divine and immortal. And they represent the positive, and those two brothers loved each other immensely. Castor died in a war, and Pollux asked his father, Zeus, to either kill him or bring Castor to Mount Olympus so that he becomes immortal. And seeing such a strong bond and such love between them, he both raised them to the stars and made them constellations. So they represent the positive and the negative united in brotherhood and friendship, not in balance, united, both recognized as both ends of the same stick in a way. And we'll see how that is very, very, it's an information that is very, very important to integrate for this moon. It's connected to the throat chakra, the word, the verb, the creator word. And that's where we understand that it's not about balancing, but recognizing that both are one. Both the positive and negative are one. And when in balance, we can create through the verb. And when it's not in balance, Gemini can bring the lack of axis, the lack of backbone. It can be one of the main characteristics of Gemini is its capacity to adapt, like wind, like air, to take the form and the shape of the environment it's in. Same for us, or for the attributes of Gemini. We can get lost in the many versions of ourselves, where we present a face in every group, society, environment that we mingle with, to the point where we lose ourselves, we lose our center. So there's no one left within, and that's not being in balance with the energy of Gemini. Remember, we want to integrate all the 12 energies of the zodiac and be in balance with them for a complete path for our evolution. So that's what we're seeking, to be in balance with the attributes of each archetype. So that's to set the scene about what sort of energy we're living in for this new moon. The first very key aspect here, or information that we have with this moon, is that we have the new moon, so sun and moon together, always, always, always for a new moon. They're in the same place in the sky, are conjunct together with Mercury and Uranus. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, so it is in its home, in its natural place, so it's very powerful being there. And Uranus and Mercury represents, and Gemini represents the lower mind. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, and it represents the higher mind. sign, and it rules Aquarius. Both Gemini and Aquarius are about truth and how we relate to others. One being the higher or the next level of evolution to the other. Gemini, give me one sec. Thank you. So both Gemini and Aquarius are about truth and are about how we relate to others. One being at the physical aspect, Gemini, and the other one at the spiritual aspect, Aquarius. So the invitation that we have here at the first level of information that we're dealing with is to reconnect with our truth, with our voice, throat chakra, our original vibration from which we create, so that we can relate to others from a place of alignment, from a place of truth, from a place that honors who we are deeply within. So it's the opportunity to remember that this body is where the divine dwells. When we say that my body is a temple, it's not just for the food we give it or don't give it, for the care we give it or don't give it, but it's first and foremost because this is where the source lives, and this is where our original vibration, the blueprint of our soul, is. And in our relationship with others, in the expression of our truth comes from that, from recognizing that our truth is the embodiment of the divine, of the spirit, of source, God, you name it the way you like to name it, but the embodiment of that intelligence within us. And we'll see how very, very, very important that is. And before we started the recording, we were talking about the big shift that is happening. At least one of the participants was talking about that. And yes, we are going slowly but surely towards a bigger shift. It's like going through, let's say, a membrane, and we're just getting further and further and further into that. We're not completely on the other side, but we're just getting further into it. And all of the steps and the moon alignments, for example, are let's say breadcrumbs in the direction of going to something different, to where we are all heading as a humanity. But each of those moon cycles bring a new information for us to integrate, and for us to integrate, and for us to integrate until we grow and we recover that blueprint that I'm talking about. Another very meaningful aspect that is happening in the sky is the direct and very easy connection of this stellium. Stellium is a grouping or a cluster of stars in the sky. So we have in that stellium Sun, Moon, Mercury, Uranus. That's already quite something. And all of those are connecting to Pluto, who is in Aquarius. So you see the resonance with Uranus that we just spoke about. Aquarian energy, which is where what we have stepped into and where we are going in terms of blossoming, is very, very present today and for this moon. So Pluto, as you know, is the planet of transformation, of really burning everything down and starting again, fresh, new, letting go. And it's more than letting go, it's just accepting to die. That's the true meaning of Pluto. It's the king of the underworld. So it's accepting that a part of us needs to go away, definitely, that it is no longer valid for what's coming next. So looking back at the preparatory work that I sent, this is what it's about. What needs to go completely and definitely, so that, you know, that's how energy works. For something new to come, something old must go. We need space, and that is what it is about. So it's the moment to rethink how our life is aligned with our soul, with our blueprint, with your personal truth, with the thing, the code that we were born with, and we came here to incarnate and to unfold. So that requires that we go to the depths, Pluto, to see what needs to be undone, and to go to the highest source of inspiration, Uranus, Aquarius, to remember that truth. So you see where I'm going with this. We're really going, stretching in both directions to go to the bare truth. When you burn everything, what's left, it's the seed that contains all the information. And then when you elevate you with the source, and it's reconnecting to those two essential ends of the stick that we embody. So mind is a very big very big theme today for this moon. Lower mind, higher mind, rethinking, reviewing, re-examining. And the next important theme has to do with action. One thing is to think, but it's all well and easy if we stay in the realm of the thinking. We're here on Earth also to act. We have a body. It means movement, action. And the great signal of action is the very recent crossing of Saturn into Aries. It's actually bang on 0 degrees of Aries. It entered Aries yesterday, the 25th, Sunday the 25th. So Saturn has entered Aries. It's a big deal. I will explain why in a moment. But just to explain that movement. So it entered Aries yesterday. It will stay there until September 1st, I think, or the beginning of September. Then it will go back into Pisces to enter definitely into Aries for a new cycle of 29.5 years approximately in 2026. So why is it a big deal? It's because Saturn is touching the very first degree, or the beginning of the zodiac, the 0 degree of the zodiac, which means it's starting an entire new cycle around along the 12 archetypes. So we spoke a lot about Saturn in Pisces, about how it helps dissolve the old structures, whether collectively or personally, and you probably have noticed how things that we believed held our lives and held us steady and held us, let's say, in a certain state of being, or in a certain state of equilibrium with our environment, dissolved. Well, one big one that dissolved was in 2020, when we were all asked to stay at home. Just that just shook us all to the bone. And since then, see what happened in your life that led you, forced you, invited you to change what you thought were core constituents of who you are, or of the way you experienced life, the structures of your life. So now that it's entered Aries, give me one sec to read a comment. How do I read the comment here? Yes, It's around 29.5 years to do the entire zodiac. So yeah. So now that it's in Aries, it's giving us a complete different energy. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, the one that's the initial movement in incarnation. So nothing to do with Saturn in Pisces. Remember, Saturn is about responsibility, order, discipline, long-term planning, structure, what's hold the life together. The structure of a building is like the pillars, the things that make up the key, the bones, it's the backbone, it's our skeleton, for example. So Saturn in Aries, like, it can be very difficult to experience because Aries is going to push us to act fast, to want results immediately, to act on impulse, which is the opposite of Saturn. Saturn is about planning, about going slow, about, I don't necessarily need the fruit of my labor right now. I'm happy to wait to make sure I get, exactly what I want later. So there's a little bit of friction, and we'll see how we can get out of that. But first of all, to have a complete picture, Saturn and Neptune have been together for a while now, and now both of them are in Aries. And they are both, again, connecting to this new moon and the stellium I just spoke about. So they are beaming like a lot of energy to that group of stars that are gathered around the sun and the moon. So what does that mean? All of the above. The Saturn in Aries, the conjunction with Neptune, the connection with the moon. So Saturn is about hard work, long shot view, the grind, practical, in the sign of will, beginnings, impulsivity. So the negative expression of that is to feel rushed. Like, I need to make changes quickly. I need to be, to do things for now. I need to be rushed in my plans. I need to make things happen now. That would be, let's say, the uncomfortable way to experience Saturn in Aries. But there's I think, a more Saturnian way to use that, to use the energy of Aries, which is to use it to ignite the new plans. Because remember, Saturn is about incarnation, is about matter, is the spiritual aspect of Earth. So it really speaks about palpable, practical, tangible things, right? So I think an interesting way to use this configuration is to use the fire, the impulse of Aries to build those new planets. All the work we did with Gemini, Mercury, Pluto, Uranus, Aquarius, which is to rethink, to let go, to let that part of us that needs to die, to let it die. Okay, it's not just to die, it's because something new wants to come up. This is where it's coming up. With Neptune, the dream, the vision. Uranus holds the vision as well. And Saturn, make it happen, plan for it, build the structures for it. All the structures that disappeared, that we destroyed, that were taken away from us sometimes. And it was very painful. Now is the time to create the new ones. So think of a start-upper, people who are entrepreneurs have that fire of building something from scratch that's very Aries. But at the same time, they know that whatever they're building, it's a long shot view. This is the type of let's say, if to give you a comparison, type of energy that we're dealing with here. Saturn also gives us tenacity, discipline, to build things step by step. So we're igniting something new, a new structure, but we know it's gonna, it's not gonna be immediate. We need to build it steadily and slowly but surely. And what I really like about Saturn here, it's aspect of responsibility. Remember, Saturn is the master of karma, and karma is not necessary. I mean, let's say a more way I see karma is the law of cause and effect. And it's the law of cause and effect that awakens our sense of responsibility, because we become aware of, we do a thing, we think a thing, we act in a certain way, it has consequences. So it makes you aware of the immense responsibility that you hold in every action that you make. And I think this is what is really, really important here to integrate. It's our responsibility to bring that truth that we hold within, to bring it into existence in the physical realm. And that takes us to a very deep existential place. Who am I? If I want to bring that truth, what is that truth? What is my truth? Who am I? And what am I doing here? What am I here for? Right? So it's asking ourselves about our identities. Aries, the mantra for Aries is I am. It's the sense of I am. I know exactly I am. So as much as there's some technical work to do, like the exercise that I sent beforehand, think of this, think of that, would you think, etc. It all, there's a point of attraction, like that is magnetizing us towards our core, the deepest of our heart, of our essence. That's what we need to connect to for this moon. And to help us to create those new structures, we have Jupiter also in Gemini, towards the end of Gemini. It's going to move in Cancer very soon. That is not only squaring Saturn, but also squaring the nodal axis. So this is inviting us to review our belief systems. It will, the action or the influence of Jupiter will amplify even more towards the end of June. I think it's around the 25th, when Mercury will meet Jupiter and will really amplify that. I prefer to use invitation to rethink, what is it that I believe that is no longer aligned with what I want, who I want to be, who I think I am. What is it that needs to change? So it's, what are the beliefs that made me who I am today and that brought me up to here? Where am I heading? What is my truth? What am I here for? For these beliefs that I've just saw, are they still needed? Are they still supporting my vision, my dream? What structures that I need to put in place to hold my dream together? What is a great vessel for that dream to happen? And what structures Saturn, do I need to create now, Aries? That's the articulation between the two. So for me, the deep lesson behind this moon, and if we go back to the polarity of Gemini into positive and negative, I think it's really an invitation to reunite and remember our divine aspect. You can call it my truth, my essence, my blueprint. But most importantly is to remember that it's not something that we need to bring from here and bring from there and find a middle point to be connected to the two, is to recognize that we are both. We are positive and negative. We are terrestrial and celestial at the same time, right? It's just two aspects of who we are. And this is what the I am is about. So, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we keep meeting initiation after initiation. All the recent, over the past few years, the big or small changes that we made or happened to us, these are all initiations into leading us into a much more luminous, I want to say, version of ourselves, only because for the metaphor of the divine being represented by light, consciousness, sun being represented by light. And these initiations are here to help us shed those layers that are keeping us away or blurring or hiding or giving us less access to the light that dwells within, right? And by doing that, by doing that work of shedding layer after layer, layer after layer, we're opening that channel to allow the divine intelligence to work through us, because that is what it is about. So what this moon is opening or is favoring is to open for ourselves to open the access to our inner sun, to our inner source of consciousness, to the inner master that is within us already. We just believed. For example, this is one of the beliefs that we went by as a culture, or as cultures, or many cultures at least, that the divine is outside of us. That's a belief, for example, and you can change it. You can keep it if you want to keep it, even you can change it. And I believe that this moon is precisely about that. It's about reminding us or telling us to remember, because it is a question of remembering. Really, 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 if you go to the depth of it, it's about remembering that the divine is inside and that we are divine beings incarnated, and that you heard a lot. But it's one thing to understand it from a mental perspective and understand the logic of it, and slowly getting to the point to incarnate it. And it's not because we don't know how to do it, or because we're not smart enough. It's because as incarnated beings, we hold a lot of information in our bodies that say otherwise. So it's about, the work is about deprogramming at our cellular level, so that we can remember. All of our being remembers that we hold the source within, we hold the master within, we hold the inner sun inside. What else? Yes, the other important thing is coming back to the Trinity, because there's a lot of Uranian and Aquarian energy that is present. And I think it kind of reminds us of the path from Gemini to Aquarius. In order to be able to function in an Aquarian world based on networks, based on humans being vertices in a network, each of them holding their plot so that the entire network holds itself. We need to learn how to hold ourselves just within ourselves. That's the Gemini path. That's the axis of Gemini. Then in Libra, we learn how to interact with others, and while holding our axis, we learn to create in the presence of others. Libra is the first sign that in the wheel of the zodiac that connects with the other. And with that, we learn to balance our presence with the presence of others. And once we learn that, then we can be proper Aquarian elements in the greater mind and accomplish the incarnation or the purpose of the Aquarian archetype. You understand what I mean? So it's really essential that we manage to find that axis, that sky-earth axis, that I am axis, to get ready for what's coming next. I want to share with you just, there's two other pieces of information that I want to share with you that are really lovely. One of them is the Sabian symbol for this moon. Remember, or maybe for those who don't know, the Sabian symbol is usually a poetic sentence that is associated with each degree of the zodiac, and that expresses the energy that is awakened by the moon. It's specific to the moon when it touches that degree of the zodiac. So at 6 degrees, we look at between 6 and 7. So we looked at the 7. So the Sabian symbol for today, for this moon, is a well with bucket and rope under the shade of majestic trees. A well with bucket and rope under the shade of majestic trees. For me, this speaks about the beauty and abundance and source, the water to quench your thirst source that is available to those who just take care to go and get it. The bucket and rope are there. All you need to do is, let it go down and just pull the water for you to drink under majestic trees. It's available to you. You're under the shade. You're protected. So I think it's a poetic way to really to say that it's proposed to us. Enlightenment, spiritual growth, all of it, all work that we're doing and the access or the guidance of the inner master or of the inner light or of the divine within is proposed to us. It's there for you if you want it, but you got to come and get it. You got to do the thing that needs to be done to get it. That's how I see it. And one last thing for me that reinforces the message of this moon is the fixed star Prima Hyadum that is conjunct this new moon. This fixed star is the main star of the Hyades constellation. The Hyades are the daughters of Atlas. They are the half-sisters of the Pleiades. And in Chinese myth, this star represents the master of karma. That's Saturn in Western astrology, and not just Western astrology, actually. And the master of karma, according to Chinese kind of understanding of this fixed star, advises one to develop their inner vision, to liberate oneself from the blocks of karma or from trauma. So all the stuff that we carry with us, that we have the opportunity to liberate in a very definitive way. I don't think that I can't speak for tens of thousands of years, but I don't think that I'm confident to say in thousands of years, at least 2,000 of years, I don't think we've been so close, or we've had that opportunity to get rid of so much in such a short time. To speak it more clearly, where you would need 10 years of psychotherapy to understand the thing that happened when you were a kid, and that imprint and blah and thing and that until you reach the point when you can integrate it and resolve it and use it to grow. It would be years. We're at a point where maybe because we're trained more, maybe because there's new ways to deal with trauma and karma and generational inheritance, good or bad, maybe it's that too. But regardless of why, for me, we are at a point in time where never before it had been as that easy. And I'm not saying it's easy in itself, but it's become less and less and less and less difficult to release those things, so that, again, we can access that inner light, or that inner master, that inner divinity, that inner intelligence that is us. I hope I make myself understood. So this fixed star, and you know how fixed stars are powerful, very laser-like. They send energy from a much higher vibration than the rest of the zodiac. They are the spiritual level, where the zodiac, as we practice it, or the astrology as we practice it mostly, is more at the soul level. The fixed star come from a super potent, very fine energy. So again, this helps us turn within, which is what it is about. Turn within to find our axis within. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me look at the time. Oh my God. I spoke a lot today. That's it for this moon. I really think we're getting close. Not that we're getting closer. The dimensional shift, and this is also what it means to look within. You can compare it to inner Earth. Is the same. It's like to find the wholeness, yes, wholeness, which is holiness within, inside, by self-referencing ourselves. That's the I am. And this is this is the dimensional shift that we're going closer and closer and closer and closer to, that we're being initiated into step by step by step by step. All right, that's it. Let me pause the recording to take any questions, and then we continue. So before we get to the meditation, let's ask the oracle of Agartha, the inner earth. If there is any further advice for this moon, okay. Today we have the divine hierarchy. This is what it looks like. Planets with a central beam of light coming out. I don't know if you see that. Okay, let me read to you what it is. This is from the Ancient Aztecs. And let's see. Okay, divine hierarchy. We, people of stellar origin, measure the importance of respecting the divine hierarchy. In our organization, we have reflected or mirrored the divine hierarchy by placing in the center of our decisions beings that are worthy of our trust and of great wisdom. With this message, we come to advise you to place your trust in people that demonstrate devotion and a real wisdom that doesn't ask anything in return. In order to give your trust, you also need to demonstrate honesty towards yourself regarding the interests that you are pursuing. Interests that are too egotistic will attract to you people in which you are likely to place a completely blind trust, losing your own capacity of discerning. The more your interests are pure and transparent, directed to the collective, the more you will have the necessary discernment to surround yourself with the right people to take your projects to completion. The key is evaluate the nature of your interests and demonstrate discernment in the choice of the people you collaborate with. Interesting, isn't it? In terms of sending us back to ourselves. Before we seek things around us. And also, I would say, sending us also to re-examining where do we place our pursuits. They say, the more your interests or pursuits are pure and transparent, directed to the collective, you see, the more you will have the discernment, the necessary discernment to surround yourself with the right people to take your projects to completion. So here's the card again. And let's get to the meditation. Let me start sharing the music. Sit comfortably. And can you just do that if you hear the music? Super, thank you. Close your eyes. Take a comfortable position where you're sitting with your spine totally aligned and vertical. Start by taking a few deep breaths, inhaling deeply through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. A couple of more time. Inhale deeply through the nose. Maybe hold your breath for a couple of seconds. And exhale through the mouth. One last time. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale. And come back to normal breathing. Relax your shoulders and clench your jaws. Relax your lower belly, your entire stomach where tensions can sometimes be accumulated. Relax your arms. And imagine a thread pulling you up from the top of your head, and use that to make sure your spine is vertical and your head perfectly aligned above your spine. And now I want you to place your entire attention on your breath. Watch your breath in, your breath out. Becoming the witness of the present moment, where your breath is the only thing that exists. Breathe in and breathe out through the nose. Just a natural breath, without control, without pushing, without altering your breath. Just observing your natural breath. Moment after moment after moment. There's only your breath in and only your breath out. And everything is contained in this flow. And now I'd like you to shift your attention to your root. And while maintaining the awareness of your breath, imagine, feel, or see roots growing from the base of your spine into the earth. With each breath, they go deeper and deeper into earth. And notice how that makes you feel. Perhaps a sense of going back home or of being at home. Feel the support, the welcoming, the unconditional acceptance of Earth as you grow roots deeper and deeper and deeper. Feel this sense of safety, of peace, where your entire nervous system can take a rest, where you can relax completely, knowing that this is where you belong. Once you have settled down in that feeling, I want you to guide your attention from your root along your spine, going up to the crown. And once you hit the top of your head, imagine, see, or feel a lotus flower opening up at the top of your head. Feel the radiance, the lightness, the beauty of that flower. How delicate and refined it is, how subtle and beautiful. And with your breath, at the exhale, guide your breath down your spine into your roots. And with the inhale, guide your breath along your spine, going up, opening the flower. Exhale, close the flower, go down to root. Inhale, go up, open the lotus flower. Continue for a few cycles. With extreme focus and concentration on every detail of that flow, of the attributes you can sense when you hit the crown, when you hit the roots. And at the end of the next exhale, release the movement and come back to gentle and normal breathing through the nose. Imagine, see or feel a beam of light coming down from the center of the cosmos, pouring down above your head, going through your crown, flowing down your spine into your root, and traveling down the roots you have grown into earth. And as you allow that light to flow through you, I recognize that I am the bridge between heaven and earth, between the infinite and the form. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I become aware of a light flickering at the center of my chest, awakened and resonating with the beam of light I've just received. And I allow that flickering to become steady light, beaming and pouring from within this time, inundating my entire body from within, flowing through my veins, reaching all my organs, my muscles, my tissues, my bones to the marrow, filling up every cell of my entire body and radiating beyond. I surrender to that light, pouring an inextinguishable source, pouring into my body from within. I direct it wherever it needs to go. Filling up my entire body, allowing it to overflow. And I understand that this light in my core is the light from Source that has gone through circles and circles of wisdom, passed down from masters to masters, and handed down to me, placed into my center. So I can hold the eternal in me. And placing my attention in the flow of light pouring from within, I start noticing a flow spiraling up and another flow spiraling down. I recognize the positive and negative in me. the cold and the warm, the feminine and the masculine, together, dancing and forming a toroidal sphere around me, held in its axis by my spine, as my spine is that central axis. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I remain in silence. Allowing myself to soak in to reunite with my essence. And I understand that this flow is the field and the gateway to my inner knowing. I surrender to the divine flow that moves through me and to the master within. My will is divine will. I think, I know, I am. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And slowly I come back here and now. I can stretch and yawn. And when I'm ready, I can open my eyes. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here once again. I wish you a beautiful new moon, and I will see you at the next moon. Bye-bye.